This week on One Crazy Story, comedian Mary Santora joins us to talk about how drunk you have to be to get kicked out of a Backstreet Boys concert.
The security guards were like, what did you think you were going to do back there? Da, da, da. I don't know if they thought maybe that I was a threat or had a gun or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And this was probably 2012.
Yeah.
Before that.
So, but how dangerous is
right?
drunk?
I'm in a skin-tight shirt and like little shorts and high heels. Like I'm not hiding anything anywhere.
Clearly, you're not. You want to tackle AJ.
I just want to tackle AJ. That's all. I just want to kiss him on the face. Like that's all I want to do.
Hello and welcome to another edition of One Crazy Story. I'm your host, Nate Armbruster, and this week I'm talking with comedian Mary Santora. Mary was kind enough to come by and record an episode of the podcast with me while she was in town performing at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. We tried once before at Laugh Fest in Grand Rapids, but it didn't work out, so this time around was perfect. She was in town, I was in town, and she was kind enough to come do an episode with me. And the more I talk to people and realize that a lot of the fun, crazy stories come from drinking too much or doing a little too much of some sort of substance, but Mary had a great story about getting kicked out of a Backstreet Boys concert. How could that not be hilarious? Well, it's hilarious now. At the time, it was probably a little too much, but we go over all that in this episode. So Mary Santora, check her out online. Check her out on Twitter, everything. Go find her tour dates. She's all over the country. This girl's working every week. She's so funny. You have to see her live. So make sure you follow her on all the social media. There'll be links in the description for the episode, so make sure you go find her online. So make sure you go check Mary out. She's great. Also, if you enjoy anything you're hearing, be sure to get in touch with me. You can always follow me on any social media at One Crazy Story, at Nate Comedy. Follow the show, follow me, come see what I'm up to. Thanks so much for listening. If you want to get in touch with the show, just send an email to onecrazystory@gmail.com. I would love to hear your thoughts on anything you may have to share. So thank you so much for listening, and enjoy this week's episode with myself and comedian Mary Santora. Explain this phone call that you were just on.
Oh my God, okay.
Because
So I was on my ex's brother's phone plan because we were engaged. So he got his brother got a discount. So I was like, why wouldn't we be on the same phone plan if we're going to save money, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So when we split up, I talked to his brother because we had just bought new phones. And with Verizon, you have to do like their Edge plan or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So instead of paying $1,000 for your new phone, they put it onto your bill every month. Right. And then you just pay like $30 a month.
Yeah.
So we were doing that. And so when we split, we had just bought the phones like a month before that. So I talked to his brother and I was like, hey, I don't have $800.
Such horrible timing.
Right. I was like, I don't have $800 for this phone. And he was like, don't worry, I have no problem keeping you on the plan until it's paid off, and then you can just split off whenever you're ready.
It wasn't like a very, it was a pretty chill break.
His brother was cool with it. He had no problem.
Fine.
Yeah, he's like, just
good.
Send me a check every month.
Yeah,
that's
just
all
pay
he cares.
for it.
Right,
It's
he
all
doesn't
good.
care.
Who gives a shit?
So that was fine. And then he called me last week right before I left. So June was just a shit month for me. I didn't do like any comedy because I was working so much because I moved. So I needed like a security deposit, a first month's rent. I had to buy a couch. Like I had all this stuff I had to pay for. Right. And I had 3 weddings back to back to back in June. So he calls me and he's like, hey, everyone's going their own separate ways on the phone plan. So you have basically a week to figure out like what's going on. He's like, and he was very apologetic because it wasn't his fault. He was like, hey, some unforeseen things have happened. I apologize, but this is the way that it is. And that was right before, like the day before I left to go to North Carolina, which was last weekend. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't home for any of this.
Yeah. It's so funny how like comedy's the one thing that's going to keep you sane through shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, that's all I want to do. And then it's like, oh, good. Let me go handle all this bullshit that I have to take care of.
That's exactly what it was. And I only did 6 sets in all of June, which is just like, that's nothing. That's not 1 per week. You know, it was nothing. And so it's just so funny to like have that, not having that release because I had to work more because I had to make money to provide for all these things.
It's the thing. You got to take care of your life shit. And then it's like, all I want to do is comedy. And then you finally get to do comedy. It's like, wait, no, there's more.
Right. It's
Don't
always
go too
something.
far.
It's always something. So that was what that was. It was 35 minutes of them just trying to switch over the phone line and assume liability. And then they're like, oh, your unlimited plan, I guess I use they said this month already I've used 12 gigs of data, which is ridiculous because it's only a week. Right. But
how many people are on this plan?
No, this is just me.
No,
they were just
you?
looking at me. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to pay $90 a month for this.
Do you want the Wi-Fi password?
Right. I might as well at this point. But it's because of traveling. They said that the most usage it was from GPS. So when you're traveling, you have your GPS going. You can't. You're not connected to Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? And it's being on the road and stuff. You can only connect so often. So that's what sucked. So then I was, not arguing with the guy, but I'm like, I can't afford. And then I'm still paying for the stupid phone that I didn't want in the first place.
Right.
It wasn't my idea to upgrade. I was fine with my iPhone 5. I don't need an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
So I'm still paying for that. So my bill's going to be like $180 a month for the first couple months until I pay off the phone.
Shit.
So it was just a nightmare. And it lined up as soon as I was driving here. So
it's so
why the
funny.
hell wouldn't it?
I know. It was funny.
It's just that life shit that's aggravating as hell. I'm like, why? Does it have to be so complicated?
Mm-hmm. You're staying with a friend in town here? Another comic? Or
No, it's actually my older sister, one of her best friends. They worked together at Cedar Point.
Hell yeah.
For a few years.
Like in the dorm. They'd live in the dorms.
Yeah,
and
they
shit?
lived in the dorms and worked. And she.
That's the most Michigan, Ohio thing I've ever
Oh
heard.
yeah, dude, it's huge. That's what everybody does. If that or work at Put-in-Bay. I don't know if you guys know what Put-in-Bay is, but it's the same. Oh man, everybody goes there for the
I
summers.
heard that the Cedar Point, the people that live there, the workers that live there in the summer, I heard it gets crazy.
Oh, they all just fuck.
Party.
That's it. Everybody just sleeps together and just gets drunk, and that's it.
It's just a shit show.
Oh yeah, dude. It's a fraternity house essentially, just 10 different apartments.
Yeah, it's like everybody that didn't go to college, that's their college.
Right, that's what they do in the summers.
Yeah.
And it puts a whole new twist on Cedar Point though.
I know.
The next time you're
I
there,
know.
just watch the people operating the rides. They were up doing coke until 5 in the morning.
Because you're from Cleveland.
I'm from Cleveland.
So and I'm from Detroit. So we would go. I mean, I've been there on class trips and shit.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it's and that was just a popular spot for us to go as kids. And then you would go, and when you're a kid, you're just like, this is so much fun. You're just a kid, right? Everything's just fun. Who's this guy pressing the buttons?
Well, and that's the thing is that he is hung over. That guy, he has children's lives in his hands, and
then you go as an adult, and I'm like, man, this place is real sad.
I actually really enjoy Cedar Point. I have a lot of fun
been in a while.
of it.
I was just talking to my brother. I really kind of want to go again now that I am an adult, where you can go have fun and
it's great, dude. Take edibles and then go to Cedar Point. That's my favorite thing. It's so amazing. It's incredible.
Do you do all the roller coasters?
Oh yeah,
and shit?
I'm a huge roller coaster fan. So everything.
Yeah.
All of them. I love them. I can't go backwards. That's a weird motion. I don't get motion sickness unless I'm going backwards.
Yeah,
that's Superman one. Or maybe it's called the Wicked Twister or something.
Really fast. Yeah, that shit's weird.
It's where you go forward and then up a twist and then backwards and then up a twist. I can't go. Going backwards makes me really sick. Even on trains and stuff like that. I can't go. I have to be facing the way I'm going or I get really nauseous.
Especially when you eat a bunch of edibles.
Right.
You don't want to fuck with that.
No, yeah, it's awesome. I love Cedar Point, man. It's so much fun. So that's what that phone call
convenient.
was. And that's who I'm staying with. Yeah, it's my sister's friend. She lives 6 minutes from Ridley's. So she's right
great.
down the street from the club, which is really nice.
This is your first time at the castle?
Yeah,
too?
This is my first time at Mark Ridley's.
How do you like it?
It's
Isn't it great?
Awesome. It's been so much fun. I've always heard great things, that it was such an incredible club and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And this is my first full week. And I mean, Thursday night we had 75 people there, which is incredible. And they were super fun. And then last night there was close to 200. And it was awesome. They were laughing at setups. The room was just booming. It was your time goes by so fast. It was really great.
I like hearing what people from out of town think because it's nice to see oh, it's good you came here and had a good time as opposed to man, that show sucked or
you have plenty of those where you come through and you're like, well, that's that.
Yeah.
Which I honestly. It's hard for me to have a bad time when I'm out of town because even if there's 10 people at the show and 6 of them are comics, okay?
Yeah.
I've never seen your jokes.
Right.
And I'm a fan of comedy.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see new people perform, you know? So it's even if there's only 8 people here or 10 people here, I still don't know. I'm still seeing you for the
You're
first time.
You're an audience member,
right? I'm an audience member. And you guys have never seen my jokes, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit tougher to have a bad time.
I think the first and only time I saw you was at Laugh Fest when we originally tried to do it, the podcast.
Yes,
a few months ago. Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids. Could I not? I was like, Laugh Fest.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it was 2 months ago.
It was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and we both were probably pretty drunk. And it was like, eventually, it was just like, we'll do this another time.
Oh yeah, it
was so much. Well, because it's basically like I don't know. I guess if you have a conference, if you're like in, I don't know, whatever industry, and you go somewhere for a conference, that's basically what a festival is for comedians.
Right.
You go to a town and you all just hang out and like drink and like have a good time, as opposed to just like, I don't want to really. Maybe we'll just do it next time
we'll figure it out.
Next time I see you.
There was so much going on, and then at festivals too. There's so many people I only get to see like once a year, when you're in the same city. That's so cool that you want to catch up with all those people and. Yeah, we just didn't. Yeah, it didn't work out.
No, but this is perfect.
This works too.
This is perfect. Yeah, and we're both sober. This drink is fantastic.
Is it? That is a venti caramel latte with almond milk.
I only drink black coffee. I've never had. Well, I mean, I haven't. I never liked it, but I don't get like crazy shit at Starbucks. That's why I was like, I'll try it for sure.
Well, I am lactose.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant, so I generally will drink black coffee too. But if I go to a place that has almond milk or soy milk or whatever, it's nice. It's little sweeteners, it's a different flavor. Yeah,
I like it.
So their fuck up ended up benefiting you. So there you go.
I'm glad you were honest about it, because I was like, did you just bring me a coffee? Why would you do that? I made you come to my house.
No, I was like, oh no, they totally screwed up. Like, this is it.
I was like, did you bring me a coffee? Nope, like, nope.
The dude wasn't listening at all. Like, this is good.
The guy fucked up, and they were just like, you want to take it?
Right.
I appreciate your honesty. So
I'm not gonna mess with you.
So this podcast that I do, it's called One Crazy Story. I don't know why I called it that. I think the whole thing, when I first started doing it, I was like, I don't know what to talk to people about. So this is an easy thing. Everybody's got some weird experience through life. Something. Right. So I always just ask a guest to have some sort of story in mind to talk about, because I'm always fascinated with the crazy shit people get into.
Right. The one that I've thought about is the time that I got ejected from a Backstreet Boys concert.
Oh, okay.
I was like 22 or 23. And
was this when the Backstreet Boys were the Backstreet Boys?
No, this is like a reunion tour. Okay, yeah, this is not early 2000s.
So this wasn't like
not at all. This was not 2001, and I was 14.
This wasn't Millennium.
Nope. They were doing those songs, but yeah, believe me, Black and Blue. Well, I'm 28. I was born in 1989, so the early 2000s were like my jam. Late 90s, early 2000s music was all that I listened to. Oh, totally. That's what I grew up on.
You're right in that era. And who wouldn't want to go see a reunion tour of anybody you grew up listening to?
Exactly. It's Backstreet Boys and New Kids on the Block, and they came to Cleveland at the Q. The Gund Arena, whatever, however old you are, the Q.
I love that. That's great.
Right. It's one thing for a while, and then now it's another. But there was the NKOTB BSB tour.
Oh,
so it was this big thing, and they had a couple different openers. But yeah, I was like 22 or 23. And my girlfriend and I were going, and her dad worked for a company that had box seats. So he was like, hey, if you guys want to go, you can use our box. That's really cool. We were super pumped about that. I don't think she wasn't married yet, but she was her boyfriend at the time. And so it was us and a couple other people. And when we went to her house, this was my idea. I went through this stupid phase at the end of college where I would only do shots of 151.
Hey.
So
at the end of college?
Yeah, this was like 21, 22 when I got into this.
What were you into at the beginning of college?
Tequila and Bud Light. It was tequila like all I would drink. I would do shots of tequila, Patron Silver. That's all I would drink. Patron Silver, and then I would drink Bud Light like throughout the night. But yeah, I went through this really weird phase for about a year where, like, to start my night, because I figured I'd save money. So to start my night, I would do a shot of 151 because then I'm already going to be drunk.
You get right there. You get that good level of being kind of drunk, but like you're still having a good time.
Right. Like, well, it gets you off the bat. So that way when you get to the bar, you don't need as much.
That's smart.
Whatever. It's not smart. It's terrible. You should never do a shot of 151. You should not be ingesting anything that lights on fire. There's no reason to do that. Like,
yeah, you want to just shoot this gasoline we have?
It's terrible. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
I should say the idea behind it is smart. I personally wouldn't do the 151 shot.
Logically, it makes sense.
It makes sense to go there a little on the way up.
But no 22-year-old can handle their drinking like that.
My God.
Absolutely not.
You really don't realize what you're getting into when you're that young.
So
just chugging
oh,
151.
God, it's so disgusting. My stomach hurts.
Is it one of those things where you can't even drink it now?
I haven't even tried.
Yeah.
Why would I try?
It's gross.
I'm
yeah,
28.
It's just gross now.
It's one of those things where it's like, no, thank you. I'll have a craft beer that tastes good and doesn't destroy my life.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. So anyway, that's how we decided to start the night. That's how I decided to start the night. I showed up with a bottle of 151.
Right.
That's exactly how that happened. So we took a shot, and then we were like getting ready to go. And I was like, do you want to do another one? And she was like, no.
Yeah,
like,
your friends.
No, right. My friend
they're
was
not
like,
in on it.
She was like, no, why? This is fine. There'll be beer. We have a box.
Right.
Like there'll be free beer there all night.
Boxy, yeah, everything. There's food and drink
like
included.
the Loge. Yeah.
Oh,
so she's
shit.
like, we don't need to do that. You're getting
it's
too
gonna
much.
be great.
Right.
You don't even have to tip. It's just in a cooler.
It's
you just grab
it's
it.
just all there for you. So she was not on board. So as everyone's getting ready and went out to the car, I was like, oh, I forgot my purse. And I went back inside and took another shot. Oh my God. It was just,
one of those nights.
It was just such
one
a
of
bad
those
idea.
nights.
From off the rip, it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So we get in the car and we drive downtown Cleveland. It's about 25 minutes. And I remember like being drunk, like, because you can't rip two shots of 151 back to back at 22 when I was maybe all of 115 pounds. Like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you drink.
You're
I don't care if
feeling
you're a
it.
full blown alcoholic. 2 shots of 151 will knock a grown man on their ass.
Absolutely.
So we get there. It was it's all a big blur, to be honest with you. We get up to the box and
I like
wasn't
piecing this together.
Oh,
with you.
it's
This is great.
It was the openers. I wasn't really paying attention. We were all kind of hanging out and just drinking. And then like another one of our friends was at the show, so she met up with us and we were all kind of hanging out and all that dumb stuff. And then I'm pretty sure New Kids on the Block came on before. No, I think Backstreet Boys and then New Kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want who opens for who on that tour.
I think it was the Backstreet Boys that opened. That's why I was like, I'm going to tell this story, but a lot of it's missing.
Well,
so.
you know, yeah, it's like, I mean, at one point it's like Backstreet Boys. The next time it's New Kids on the Block and Backstreet Boys. In Sync's here now.
Right.
You're just like completely
Christina
fucked
Aguilera
up.
sang the Star Spangled Banner. Like it was nuts. But
you were wasted.
Dude, it was a mess. So we're all drinking, we're hanging out in the thing, and I'm sure I'm being annoying. I should get with my friend and ask her the details of this because I don't remember.
I wish she could be here to like give her
like,
account.
no, this is actually what happened. So I'm sure I'm drinking and being annoying, and I remember Backstreet Boys coming on, and I wanted to get closer. I wanted to move closer.
Because these are up. Like
they're like the second tier,
right?
like the
so
second bowl
you have
or
to
whatever.
really get. You have to like leave the room and go down escalators.
Which I was
and
not
shit.
allowed to leave the room. I was told. And so what I did is that when nobody was paying attention, I jumped over the glass and went down the front.
Wait.
So it's not like I jumped and died, but you go like there's like the glass partition and then there's chairs. There's the second club level seats.
Yeah.
And so I jumped down and I took off.
Okay.
And I was like, bye guys, see ya. Now, that year, the year before, couple years before, whatever, I cheered in college and we had games at the Q. So I knew where the warm-up areas were and I knew how to get back there. So
you had like you had like behind the scenes knowledge.
For sure.
You knew what you were doing. As wasted as you were.
Oh yeah, I knew exactly how to get
doing.
there. So I got down there.
That's amazing.
The first time I made it like down, like walking through, and security stopped me like, "Hey, you can't be back here." I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." You know what I mean? And like left, and then I just like did a lap around the queue, and then I went back down, and I got to like near the backstage area. And different security guards were like, "Hey, you can't be back here." And I remember like it was 3 times, like one, and each time I got closer and closer. And the third time I was like backstage, like completely backstage.
Oh, shit.
And I was standing behind, looking out into the audience, so I could see the stage, I could see the Backstreet Boys performing.
My God.
Yeah, and all the audience and everything. And I'm standing there, and I was like, I want to run on this stage. Like this is exactly what I'm gonna do.
Oh shit!
There was like 2 like handrails, and I had both my hands on the handrails, and I was like ready to run up onto this stage. And I got like bear hugged by a security guard, and they took me into like the office and all this stuff.
Oh no!
And I'm hammered. Okay, so I'm not complying. I'm
sure,
being
you're
an
probably
absolute asshole.
Yeah, you're just being a drunk girl at a New Kids on the Block.
Backstreet Boys concert.
Yeah, like
so.
that's of course. I mean, like they knew exactly. I'm sure, and I'm sure you're not the first person in that
right
that they've dealt with. Like
I'm
that.
sure. I'm in this like holding area or whatever it is. It's like I feel like when I remembered it was like a conference room, and there were a couple other cops like on the side, and I've been gone for hours, I'm sure, at this point.
Yeah.
It feels like I have no idea. I was gone
Do you even
for the rest
remember?
of the time.
Do you remember who was on stage at the time you were about to go on stage?
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
It was Backstreet Boys, yeah. I could see AJ, and that was like
that was why.
I'm getting him. That's
I'm
mine.
Gonna tackle AJ.
Right. So I'm in this like holding area or whatever, and I was getting really shitty with the cops. Like the one thing I remember is that the security guards were like, "What did you think you were gonna do back there?" Da da da. I don't know if they thought maybe that I was a threat or had a gun or you know what I mean? Like, and this was probably 2012. Yeah. Before that, somewhere between 2010 to 2012, I would say.
So, like, but how dangerous is the
right? I'm in a skin tight shirt and like little shorts and high heels. Like I'm not hiding anything anywhere.
Clearly, you're not. You want to tackle AJ.
I just want to tackle AJ. That's all. I just want to kiss him on the face. Like that's all I want to do.
What I wish. I hope you said that to the cop. Like,
no.
Did you see who was on stage right now?
They were yelling at me, and the only thing I remember clearly saying was I was all drunk, and I was like. They're like, well, what are you doing backstage? And da-da-da-da. And they're talking about throwing me out. And I was like, well, I got backstage 3 times, so whose fault is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like getting shitty with them. Like, no, you're not doing your job. You know?
Right.
Like,
I can just hear you saying that.
Yeah, just like getting shitty with the cops. Like, well, sorry, you suck at your job, but that's not my fault. Like, like just being so shitty. And so they kicked me out, and they're like, you got to go. And I think they called me a cab. The cab
How nice of them.
I doubt that I hailed one on my own.
Right.
Like this is a very brown out scenario where I remember parts, I don't remember the full thing. I gotta talk to my friend about this.
Yeah.
So the cab, it was like a van cab. I remember that, and I sat in the front seat. And the dude that I was with, I had just gotten back from a trip to Puerto Rico, and I studied Spanish all through college. Okay. I studied all through high school and college, so I insisted on speaking Spanish to this guy the whole way home.
Shit.
And he did not speak Spanish. Like he was like that. I speak English. Like stop. And
stop
I'm just like
trying. And it's probably so bad.
Just so bad. Just white girl wasted. Like, ¿Cómo estás? How to drive the cabo? Like just horrible broken Spanish. And so I insisted on driving Spanish the whole way home. The cab ride, I remember being like $80 because it was from downtown Cleveland in traffic, 25, 30 minutes away to a suburb to my friend's parents' house is where they took me back.
So, somewhere in here, have you even tried to find your friends at the show, or
I don't think so.
Did they even? I'm sure
I think
the security guard was just like
calls and all that dumb stuff.
I'm sure the security guard was just like, get her the fuck out of here.
Right.
Her friends, who cares? Just send her home.
Right. They don't care. They're like, you're gone. Bye.
Yeah.
See you later. No, I made no attempts. I was blacked out by the time I got back. So I don't remember I remember like walking back into her house, but then after that, it was like I woke up the next day was what it was. The most embarrassing part of this story, the worst part about it, I'm at my friend's parents' house, okay? Childhood friend. I've grown up with these people.
So these are like as good as your parents.
I've known them. I've known them forever. And I guess at one point, I hate to even say this out loud, at one point, her dad had called her furious because I was a nightmare. I wouldn't go to sleep. I was being this. I was just being a terrible, terrible human being. And at one point, I tried to pee in their sink, in their kitchen sink. I don't even know how you handle that as an adult. I'm 22, so I'm technically an adult.
Right.
Now you're looking at a 50-year-old who's seen me grow up since I was like 10.
Knows you,
You know what I mean? They're like, what is
happening
right now?
Mm-hmm. And, she's speaking Spanish.
Right, she's speaking Spanish.
El Pio and El Cinco.
Peeing in the sink. Like, what a nightmare that was. And so after that, I guess I was put to bed, or I went to bed, or I passed out somewhere. And I woke up definitely still drunk the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend was like, do you even remember what happened? I was like, I remember trying to get backstage, and we're like recapping it. And she told me the whole thing. And it was just like the most mortifying, like embarrassing thing that happened to me. And then you flash forward a couple years, she got married in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I had not spoken. I still spoke to her. She forgave me and everything. But it was like her dad's company's box. I'm like, so this looks bad on them.
Because you had the ticket.
I had tickets, but I don't think I told them.
They didn't. Yeah.
I have no idea. He may not have any boxes anymore because of me. I honestly don't know.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? So she asked me to be a bridesmaid, and I accepted. I was like, absolutely. But then I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to see her parents, like, because I hadn't seen them. Since.
You don't really. You're like, we're
and I'm
cool.
Like, oh,
I'm
man,
sorry.
Like, I don't want to see you guys. Like, this is gonna be miserable. So then, like, I remember the first time we went over there, we were doing like crafts, whatever bridesmaid shit you do. You were making clothespins or something, And I saw her mom and her dad, and I was like, I just really wanted to apologize for like the way that I acted. And they're like, we all have terrible nights. We get it.
Funny.
Like, don't ever do it again.
Yeah,
don't
ever get wasted and come try and pee in our sink again. That'd be great.
So they were actually really sweet about it.
No, that's cool. Because it is kind of funny.
It's just
and it wasn't the worst thing you could have done, you know? Like, it's just like, Jesus.
But yeah, that was the time I got thrown out of a Backstreet Boys concert.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. This is my story.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm still really good friends with her to this day. She's
yeah,
been my best friend and will continue to be my best friend.
That's good.
So yeah, that's good.
Did they have a good time at the show?
They didn't go. Oh wait, my friend?
Yeah.
I would assume. Other than worrying about if I was dead in a ditch somewhere, like. Right. She's so irresponsible. The fact that she's still my friend to this day blows my mind. I've put that girl through so much.
Right. You're like the wild one, and she's like, no, Mary, let's just sit in the box.
She's just always been. She's like down to drink and have a good time and things like that. But she doesn't black out and wander. Like that's the one time her and I went to an Indians game with a couple other friends, and the same thing happened. I disappeared into downtown Cleveland, and we were hammered again. No. And we met a friend at the Indians game who had edibles, so we ate a bunch of edibles. We were already drinking, and then I just was gone.
Where'd she go?
I went into the casino. My mom and my sister and my dad freaked out. Thought I was lost. I was lost for not even lost. I was gone for a total of like 4 hours. Maybe.
It is weird when someone disappears, but it's like, but they're fucked up because you're like, whoa, what does she know where she's going? Or like, who knows what's gonna happen to you know?
Well, it's scary. It is. I'm not downplaying that at all.
Oh
but
no, but I mean, like, but to think about like, because I mean, luckily I haven't had to deal with too many like. I'm usually the guy that's like, no, I'm good. I would have enjoyed those box seats for sure. Right. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have even tried to go.
I was way too young and way too stupid to enjoy that.
But like to even like, but that's like terrifying to go, oh shit, where'd Mary go? Like,
she's been gone for 2 hours. She won't answer her phone.
Holy shit.
But my friend is also the type of person why I love her so much. She's very honest. She's very straightforward. So she tried to get a hold of me and then was probably like, fine, if you get arrested, that's on you. Like, this is not my problem anymore. You know, I tried to help.
You seem to, apparently, like, it seems like you get out of these, you get into a situation, but like you don't, I'm sure
I've never been arrested. The fact that I've never been arrested blows my mind. And I'm knocking on wood right now because the things that I have done, it doesn't make any sense at all, ever. I got into a fist fight with my younger sister outside of a gay bar.
Really?
No arrest.
No arrest? Were the cops called?
No.
Dude, that's crazy.
They just let us hash it out.
I feel like at a gay bar, it's like...
It was like a Sunday, too. It wasn't even like a crazy, wild Friday night. Like this was like 8 p.m. on a Sunday. Like nothing intense. But I've stopped drinking since, but that's good. That's because I was a terrible person.
That's not a bad thing. Like I feel like maybe everybody should definitely give it a shot.
Not drinking?
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you have a tendency to black out and run away.
I don't get it when people say like, oh, you quit drinking, why would you, you know? And I'm like, no, it's probably a good thing. It's like maybe you should, maybe some people shouldn't, or maybe, or whatever reason. For whatever reason. I'm always like, good for you. I always just say good for you. That's great.
When I was younger.
Some people just shouldn't probably for whatever reason.
That's the whole reason why Alcoholics Anonymous exists. Is like, hey, some people can't handle this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like anything, any vice, gambling. Mm-hmm. Some people can go in with $100 and have a good time. Some people are like, I'm gonna drain my bank account. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just so funny because when I was younger, around that age, I was going through a lot of that, a lot of blackouts, a lot of nightmare stories about me, and I was like, I think I need to stop drinking. And all my friends, 22-year-olds, like, what the fuck, man? You're not going to party, you're not going to come out. Peer pressure, whatever. Now that I'm 28, 38 days without a drink, and everyone's like, good for you. Like, I'm really proud of you. And I'm like, nobody cares. Like, adults understand that if you need to take time for you, cool. Take time for you. Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, it's just so funny because it's like, that's when you think you might have a drinking problem. When you tell people I'm not drinking and no one's
when
like.
When people light up.
Yeah, when people's like, their reaction isn't, you pussy. They're like, oh, I'm so glad you found help. Like, that's.
I'm so glad you made the right choice.
Right. Oh, your life is going to be so much better.
Like, was I that bad?
Yeah, I was that bad. I'm a nightmare drunk.
Well, that's good though. 38 days, no drink?
38 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I'm trying to make it to the end of the year. So this is like 6 months. It started at the beginning of June. So,
That's great.
So, we're trying. We'll see how long it goes.
Well, that's the thing about quitting anything. It's always like I've been trying to eat better, right? That's been my thing. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to really eat good this week. And I'm like, everything else, it's always going to be there. Yeah. If I fuck up, it's like, oh, okay, get back on track. It's like, it's nothing to like, it's like, yeah, sure, you can have a drink a year from now, but maybe by the end of the year, you're like, I'm so much better off not drinking for whatever reason.
Right,
like,
right.
I feel better. I like waking up and knowing where I'm at.
Or not being hungover for 2 days.
Or not being hungover, yeah. So it's like, what are you really missing out on?
Right. It's a social aspect that is weird, when everyone's drinking and you're not. The first couple of weeks were really tough because I'm a comic, so I'm out at bars all the time.
So hard.
It's
and you
sometimes
never pay
that's
for a drink.
Sometimes that's what you get paid in.
Yeah.
Sometimes like, hey, you get a free tab.
Here's a couple drink tickets.
We can't give you any money, but you can drink for free. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, now what? You know what I mean?
But it's so easy to drink because it's so accessible to comedians.
So the first,
even like shitty gigs, they still buy you drinks, and I'm like, what? Just can you give me cash?
Right.
All right,
take
fine.
whatever money you would have taken on this.
Now I need to drink because now I'm
exactly. So like the first couple weeks, I would just always have a water or soda water or something in my hand because and I was drinking. My one buddy's wedding, the first sober wedding I went to, was the second week of June.
Oh, that's
and so
tough.
I was only 2 weeks sober, and it was all comics. And I was standing there, and I drank like 9 bottles of water because I was like, if I do not have a drink in my, something in my hand, I will end up doing a shot, or I will end up doing this. So, but I've made it through 3 weddings now, and I've been on the road and stuff, so it's getting easier.
The wedding part has to be really hard.
Well, 3 of my very good friends got married back to back to back. It was a really good comic friend of mine, and then a friend from middle school, and then a really good friend from college. And I was like, if I can make it through these 3 weddings, I don't need to drink. Like, there's no other excuse.
Yeah.
I can't even think of another excuse.
Another reason to be like, all right, we got a party.
Right, exactly.
That's amazing.
So those 3 tests were like, if I can do this, I can make it. So
how was the what? Did it ended up being a blast? Right?
It was great, and nobody. That's
awesome.
the thing.
Nobody gives a
nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody.
Every once in a while, people are like, give you a little bit of shit, but nobody's like. Literally, the only word you have to say is sober.
Yeah.
Not say I'm not drinking or hey man, no thank you. Just be like, oh no, I'm sober, and people they back off immediately. They're like, oh okay, good for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just use it as now, and then
yeah.
we'll keep moving with the conversation.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm awkward and weird.
I remember thinking like growing up, people be like, don't do drugs. As soon as you go to when you go to high school, people are gonna try. They would like fucking scare you into it. Like, man, I'm gonna go to a party and people are gonna force me to smoke weed or like whatever.
Nobody cares.
Nobody ever gave a shit.
No.
If somebody like tried to give me something, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
And never even a reason. Just I'm good.
Yeah, no thanks.
And they're like, oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
they're gonna go do it. It doesn't matter what you do. Right.
No one ever gave a shit.
No one
it's the
cares.
Same thing with alcohol.
Yeah. It's
Well,
not even
good.
a big deal. So yeah, so that's why. I mean, that's not why, but I'm not a good drunk at all.
Yeah.
It's so.
No, that's good. That's good that you got that. That you're doing that.
Yeah, I know, right? Believe me, anyone who's ever drank with me is like, smart move. Good for you, Mary.
Well, that's great. I see you're doing a lot of things out there, though. You're doing a lot of comedy. Where can people find you on the internet if they want to come see you or whatever?
So you can follow me. I push a lot through Instagram. I'm always on the story, always showing where I am.
Hashtag crushing
it.
Yeah, I love it.
That's at Mary Santora Comedy, MarySantora Comedy at Instagram. And then Twitter is Mary_Santora, which pisses me off because at Mary Santora has no followers and no tweets.
Doesn't use the shit.
Doesn't use it. And I'm like, give me this. Like, I want it so bad. It's so aggravating. I've messaged them and like tried to get it and they won't respond.
Is there a
so
process
annoying.
you can go through Twitter to get that?
Maybe. If I email them and I'm like, hey,
gonna use it.
like this, I really would like this handle. It'll make my life easier for, for comedy. And
I'm also like, I don't know. You verified?
No, I'm not even close to verified. But it's still fun. Yeah, so that's Mary_ on there. And then I have a website that I'm not good about updating, but you can check it out. It's accidentalcomedy.com/Mary Santora. So that's fun.
Sweet. I'll put links everywhere and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.